more lawsuit news, Drake has finally had enough and is putting his cartoon foot down with a boing, making the choice to sue Kendrick Lamar, technically and more broadly sue UMG and Spotify for allegedly inflating streams of his hit song, Not Like Us. As you might recall, or not depending on how close you skid that delicious N-word line, when nobody is around of course, if an N-bob is said in the woods, does anybody really hear it? I certainly do, because I'm yelling it. But back on track, the celebrated music artist Kendrick Lamar and the world famous Drake were beefing through poetry, yo. Triggered by J. Cole of all people when he claimed that the two aforementioned rappers and himself were the big three of the rap genre. A statement that Kendrick was not inclined to agree with, starting a long line of diss tracks and beefs, which ended in a pretty much unanimous Kendrick Lamar victory. Hook that boy a lot. Now his overwhelming victory could have been the result of his superior musical ability and the fact that he is in fact an award-winning writer, or as Drake and his litigation company called Frozen Moments LLC allege, it is actually in fact due to conspiring between Kendrick, UMG and Spotify, who organized a manipulative campaign to push Kendrick's music to the forefront, with Drake's litigation team going as far to claim the company violated the Racketeer, Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, in other words a RICO case, which is typically only reserved for organized crime. How Drake and his team are able to lay these accusations is due to the fact that both artists are associated with Universal Music Group, and by default Spotify as a result. It is for that very reason that makes the lawsuit somewhat legitimate, albeit ridiculous. For the long and short of it, in less legal terms, Drake and his lawyers believe that UMG alongside Spotify deliberately pushed Kendrick's music over his own, specifically relating to the aforementioned song. The most fascinating of all is how they claim UMG achieved this, as Drake's attorneys claim that they carried out this scheme in a variety of ways, including by charging Spotify vastly reduced licensing rates in exchange for the streamer recommending the song to users who had searched for unrelated songs and artists, as well as claiming that UMG paid influencers to boost the song on social media, as well as hiring armies of bots to spike the numbers. The first point I will concede may have some legs, but the influencer one is just a dead duck. Lad, that's just standard practice across the board for all major artists and albums. Now look, I may not be from the streets. The closest I ever get to it is when I walk across the road if a black guy's approaching me. And as someone who formerly lived in Africa, bro, you knew I was zigzagging. But if I may be so bold as to hit the head with the nail, that's a weird way of saying it, Kendrick Lamar accused you of being a serial misogynist, a deadbeat father, an associate kitty diddler, and you clap back by suing him not for defamation, but rather because you lost. Dude, you have to shoot the man. It's the only way you can redeem yourself at this point.